I'm Stephen John Drew from the official GonnaGeek.com show, a weekly geek news podcast that is a part of the Gonna Geek network, just like the show you're checking out now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other awesome geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Hey friends, Jordan Woods Robinson here from AMC's The Walking Dead and Blue Man Group, and this is PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture. We're a geek podcast for geek culture, so are you ready to get your geek on? Sit back, relax, grab some gluten-free, non-GMO popcorn, and let's dive into the world pop culture bliss.
You are listening to PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture.
Captain's log supplemental.
PopXcast. Hasta la vista, baby. By the power of Grayskull, Autobots, transform. Excelsior!
Hey guys, and welcome to PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture. I am Austin Burke, the Appalachian geek at heart. We would like to welcome you guys joining us live in the PopX.live chat room. Come and hang out with us. Join the conversation at PopXcast.com. If this is your first time tuning into one of our conversations, the first 20 minutes or so, we run down the headlines, everything that's been going on since our last show, and then we dive into the topic about halfway through. Stick around. Geeky goodness is coming your way. Lindsay is joining me today. Lindsay, how you doing, girl? What's going on?
Hey, guys. It's me. I'm Lindsay Badger, your favorite geeky okie, in for another week of geeky goodness. If you guys are watching us over on Facebook Live, make sure you come over to getvocal.com and join the live conversation here on this platform. That's where all the fun is happening. Don't miss out.
And Joseph Burke, baby, you popped in. How you doing?
How you doing there, sweet thing? Oh my God, you just as fine as a peach cobbler pie in the dead middle of summer in South Georgia.
Juicy.
Accent. I like that accent.
Yeah, I reckon. Now give me some of that sweet tea and some peach cobbler.
I
Little
think
Django
we
and
have
Django.
something over the weekend.
Well, I may or may not have some fresh peach cobbler over the weekend. You go in Georgia.
Of course
Georgia,
you did.
Georgia is what?
The peach
No,
stain.
it's known for its peach
Thank
baby.
you.
Yeah,
It's like obligatory. You
you
have to
gotta
have
have some
Coke and you gotta have some peaches.
Oh,
There you
Coke.
go. Atlanta, home of Coca-Cola. Georgia,
right.
home of peaches.
I don't
Not
even
a
like
sponsor.
Coke, but I
Yes.
drink it just because I'm there.
Coca-Cola is not a sponsor nor endorsed by PopXcast.
No,
so-
it's not.
All right, guys, so I'm your host, Joseph Burke, Central Florida seasoned comic book nerd and retro enthusiast. We'd like to welcome everyone right now joining us. Be sure to head on over to our Google Play and iTunes after the show and click on that subscribe button. Catch up on some amazing shows from the PopX archive, and while you're there, we'd certainly appreciate you giving us leaving us some love with a 5-star rating and review. Now, if you missed last couple weeks episodes, on episode 94, we were talking, actually, this Austin Burke's topic, and it was really cool. Marvel
Good
Cinematic
call.
Universe predictions, and we had a really great show a couple weeks ago for that. Check out our official website, popxcast.com, for this and other great shows from the PopX's collective archive of geeky goodness. And so, kind of stemming off of what Austin did a couple of weeks ago with predictions of Marvel, I was like, but wait, Robert Pattinson just got cast. Oh, there's a lot of blue in that window right now. There is a lot of blue in that window right now.
This is the most delicious Dr. Pepper I've ever had.
All right,
and
well-
I'm so
Okay.
thankful.
Wait, let's
wait.
pause for station identification while we hydrate. You ready? 3, 2, 1, hydrate. And so,
It's all gone.
great
Something's falling
Scott,
apart.
Marty.
It's all gone.
1.21 gigawatts.
I also have our branded.
Did you see the cups? Look at the cups. That's
how you hydrate.
That's how you hydrate.
This is how we hydrate, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, that
It's
is
the
awesome.
proper way.
that is pure magma in that cup right now. She's drinking lava. But so stemming off of
Goodness,
what
we
Austin did a couple of weeks ago, I came up with an idea. I was like, well, why don't we like talk a little bit more about some DC stuff And since there's a lot of news coming out lately about DC Comics and then Swamp Thing's getting ready to release tomorrow, there's a lot of cool things coming out
I
in
heard
the
something
world
about a
of
sparkling
DC.
bat or something.
Sparkling what?
Yeah.
Take
Glitter bat?
that back, Lindsay.
No.
You take it back.
No.
I'm scared.
You take that Twilight joke back.
What's going
Take it
on?
home.
Hey, you guys.
Take it home, Lindsay.
Oh my god. All right, guys, are you ready to dive into this week's nerdy geeky news?
Roll that.
All right.
Extra, read all about it. This is PopX News, coming to you live right here on PopXcast.com.
All right, I will kick it off this week. We have, my gosh, this is crazy, and this is just launched today. There was a trailer that came out literally this afternoon, kind of giving the release date of the new Jessica Jones series. Jessica Jones' third and final run on Netflix has now been official. The premiere date, thanks to a teaser which made its way online. Starting on June the 14th, the super-powered private investigator with a penchant for bourbon will officially return. Now, it seems as though she's found some new interesting cases involving people with remarkable abilities in New York City. That sounds interesting. The teaser opens with someone walking towards the door of the office of Kristen Ritter's Eponius character, while the mysterious voice calls Jessica a fraud. The official synopsis describes a new villain as a highly intelligent psychopath, yet his identity, keyword, is still under wraps. Now, catch the trailer now over on YouTube and gear up for Jessica Jones' final hurrah here on Netflix coming up on June the 14th. Now, it's kind of like sad news for a lot of us Marvel fans, because we've got invested in this franchise. We've got invested in the characters and Michael Coulter and it just Cox and all of the guys. And now, you know, it's just like, this is it. This is the finale of Marvel on
official.
Netflix. Yeah. It's a sad
Hopefully
day.
this finale goes better.
Yeah. So what do you think? What's your thoughts about this, Austin? Do you think they're going to end this run of Marvel with a bang with Jessica Jones, or you think they're just going to play the low road?
I hope so. The fact that it was finished up before they actually knew they were going to get canceled kind of gives me hope, not in a finality kind of way, because I don't think this is going to be a finale. It's going to leave a door open that will never get explored, unfortunately. But it's also this feeling of like, I don't know if I'm as excited as I would have been, because what's there to look forward to after this? You know, it's a finale. Yes, we can get excited about that, but this is it. It's like that Dark Phoenix. Just, I just can't get excited, and I hate that feeling because I do like the character of Jessica Jones. But this season, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I hope it's good.
I'm hoping that there's some tie-ins. I personally would love to see a nice nod to the MCU, like, because we never got that official.
Yeah.
We never got an official, like, other than some hidden posters in the background that it's tied to the MCU. We
Small
never got
references.
Yeah, and we never got an official,
appearance or anything.
You know,
Really.
there was no Nick Fury, there was no Coulson, or none of that, and it was
Well,
just.
you guys, if Disney buys Netflix, then they can just restart all the systems and keep it going.
That's.
You know, I kid, but I only half kid because it could quite possibly happen in the next year or two.
You make a good point. I mean, but just stemming off of what we just talked about 2 weeks ago, Lindsay, Disney bought Hulu outright, and
I know. It's just like, and you know, Netflix is going to be struggling because you know they're not going to even mess with Amazon right now, and so Netflix is like the last place at this point.
I don't know if Disney could mess with Amazon, because Amazon is multiple entities under one house. You've got a streaming service, they have a warehouse of goods and mercantile stuff, and I don't know how you compete with a giant like that.
Monsters.
And,
They're both monsters.
Yeah.
Behemoths in the industry.
Well, let's roll into some comic book stuff.
Do it.
All right. Yeah. So in the comic book realm, Mike Mignola's Hellboy is a beloved character whose adventures still draw fans after 25 years. That's been 25 years. Holy
It has
moly.
been.
However, the world's greatest paranormal investigator hasn't had a lot of luck on the film. Back in April, Lionsgate released Hellboy reboot starring David Harbour, and as the title hero, but the film was greeted with tepid response and never really recovered. Yeah, I heard that it didn't go so well.
Sucks.
So now,
was a
yeah,
bad-
all right, it's not
Yeah.
even graceful. Look at this guy.
Sucks.
Hellboy's box office run has come to a disappointing conclusion. Via heroic Hollywood, Hellboy was pulled from theaters on May 16th, just shy of 5 weeks after it was released. According to the numbers, Hellboy only brought in $21.9 million domestically and $18 million internationally. Its worldwide gross is approximately $39.9 million, which is well below the domestic box office of the first two Hellboy films by Guillermo del Toro. You guys, that is a stinker.
Hellboy brought in
Those numbers,
21.
can we just have a moment of silence for the Hellboy franchise right now?
All right, so let me give you let me break this down for you. Avengers on its almost 6th week just raked in $16 million. All right, on its 6th week.
Yeah, the 6th week. They didn't even.
16.
Hellboy didn't even make it to 6 weeks.
5 weeks, it only pulled in 21. Austin, you're the film critic here. You've got to weigh in on this because I want to hear what happened to Hellboy.
Okay.
I was actually kind of had a little bit of high hopes for the lead at least.
The actor was great.
Yeah.
The story.
The writing sucked.
Oh my God.
I love David Harbour. I think he's fantastic. And the Del Toro Hellboy movies, they didn't do horrible at the box office. I believe the second one got over 100 million and they were on an upward trend. And then you had that long hiatus and they didn't want to give them the money to do the third one. And then you have this reboot that looked and kind of felt like a early 2000s comic book movie that didn't know what it was doing. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I really like this director because he comes from a horror background. And I love David Harbour.
Mm-hmm.
This is the biggest turd of the year for me. When you botch a I kind of wish we would have done a show about it at this point, but it's like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. When you botch a comic book movie this bad, it hurts me worse than any movie that I had no anticipation for because I love the character of Hellboy. I really do. But the fact that you can take David Harbour, he's a good actor, and make this big of a turd surrounding, he was enclosed in a turd and there was no way for him to get out. And the entire situation was just very smelly.
He was enclosed in a turd.
He was enclosed in a
turd capsule.
And it was a complete mess of a movie. It was nobody walking out of this, I guarantee you nobody said, you know what? Comic book movie of the year. No freaking way. The movie sucks. It's horrible. I watched 87 movies this year. It's the worst. It's the worst movie. Go home. Stick your head in the toilet.
Go home. Go home.
I feel
Go home.
Go home.
Go home.
Like this new generation has got cheated.
Just go buy yourself a Whopper.
Bye.
Yeah.
You know, the Ninja Turtle movies were turds. The Ghostbusters movie was lackluster. I wouldn't say it's a turd fully, but it was lackluster. And now we have Hellboy. These are like titles from our childhood that they are just slaughtering.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is too, though. I mean, like Austin was saying, there was some very sloppy writing in there, and there was no continuity whatsoever in the storyline. I mean, it's not like they're trying to tell a story on a cinematic scale of 22 films across 11 years, but my God, get your act together here and at least come up with a script that gives justice to the actor that's in the suit of Hellboy.
Right.
Because that's a great point you bring up.
What's that?
Not to interrupt you. So Endgame had to bring together 22 movies and execute on all facets and give us a story we've never seen before. All Hellboy had to do was be okay.
Yeah, just redo what you did before.
Just mediocre.
Mediocre.
Yeah.
Just redo what you
character in David Harbour.
Yeah.
No wonder it didn't make any money. It was horrible.
And you know, David Harbour went to Twitter this last week and he said, you know what, I blame Marvel for the failure of Hellboy. No.
Oh, that's cheap.
No, he
did
say
cheap
that.
Stab. Can we just say, can we dig up the script and just redo it word for word?
No.
Would that be okay?
No.
At this point, anything would probably be better.
Well, let's move on from Hellboy. And Austin, I think you're going to try to maybe bring us out of this rut of turdness.
I'm trying to get you guys excited about let's move from Marvel to DC though. Let's talk about some DC stuff.
Let's do that.
So there's
like
good
DC.
news for the fans of DC's big screen supervillain team. Joel Kinnaman just revealed that he will reprise his character in the upcoming sequel to the Suicide Squad. Speaking of turds, Kinnaman is getting ready, the first one, to step once again into the boots of Rick Flag, whom he played in 2016 Suicide Squad. The 39-year-old actor took up Instagram to reveal that he is easing into that squad prep with like 6 Ps. James Gunn.
I feel like he was shouting that from the mountaintop
Praise
or something.
God.
Squad prep.
Did I do that right? James Gunn.
I don't know.
The Suicide Squad, in all caps, originally would have been a total reboot of the DC project. Eventually, Warner Brothers undertook a different path, and the project will serve as the relaunch of the franchise.
Sorry.
One of the major changes.
I'm still on prep.
One of the major changes is that Will Smith will not return as Deadshot due to the scheduling conflicts. The Suicide Squad is scheduled to be released on August 6th, 2021. Are you guys happy for Joel Kinnaman's return as Rick Flag? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, I know I just talked crap about the first Suicide Squad, but I am honestly, the fact that this is under James Gunn's control at this point, I am so excited for this movie. Even these characters returning that maybe I didn't love in the first one, I'm very excited. How do you guys feel about this new Suicide Squad?
I have full faith in the ability of James Gunn's talent and direction. I, however, do not have full faith in all of the other hands that must touch said product.
That's true.
So I can't fully put my faith back into the DC realm because it's not solely James Gunn's call on how much of a good movie this is going to turn out to be.
Well, you know, Suicide Squad 1 was definitely right up there with Hellboy. It was definitely all over the place, sporadic storyline, no continuity, a villain that just came out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden the credits are rolling, and I'm sitting there wondering, wow, I could have really spent that $12 on something more better. Yeah, it was okay. It was not a good, I don't know. I mean, I'm on the fence about it. I'll go see it. You know, I'll give it justice because it's James Gunn.
James Gunn, that's the name.
But you know, having said that, I'm just like,
And I already knew, we had talked previously about Will Smith not returning because of his whatever he's doing. I assume Aladdin got in the way. I assume that's what got in the way.
And he's got that the one Will Smith v. Will Smith. Have you guys seen that trailer?
Yeah.
Gemini Man.
Oh yeah. He had two things going on. So
yeah.
Well, he's also doing that new series from National Geographic, The Crazy Earth.
Yes.
This Crazy
I
Earth.
missed out on that news. That's gonna be cool.
It's really cool. He's stepping into
guy.
the commentary boots, and he's actually. Me and Alex have been watching it. My wife. And it's really a good series. You should check it out. This Crazy Rock, I think is the name of it.
Okay, that's awesome.
But yeah, I'll watch it, Suicide Squad. But I mean, I'm not going to go in with any high expectations. But with Gunn, you never know what to expect. But
and it's fitting that Joe gets this next one.
Moving on, that's why I kind of lined it up that way. Call of Duty's official Twitter account released a very short video today. It was only like 10 or 15 seconds long, teasing the reveal for 2019's Call of Duty title. Now, it was later confirmed, and the announcement. The tweet has only the words "going dark," quote unquote, typed out as it's marked in a sensitive material post for Twitter. So you have to sign in and validate your age to see the post. On their Instagram page, however, the single post leading up to tomorrow's big announcement has been archived. If you go to Call of Duty's Instagram page right now, everything they've posted in the history of their Instagram page has been archived, and it's a wiped account.
Whoa.
For purpose. They are going hardcore with this. Now, if you need to check that out, you have to see it because they've had years of posts on Instagram and they've archived everything. It's gone. And could this be the hint of a new title? Now, this was me speculating. Nobody's talking about this, but I'm thinking about this. Some fans are speculating like a Modern Warfare reboot. Pretty possible. But here's what I'm saying. I am thinking, now that it's back in the hands of Sledgehammer, I am thinking it's going to be Ghosts 2.
Okay.
Because
that
the
would
way
make more sense to me.
the way the trailer is and the
Marketing-wise.
way that they ghosted the text and the content. You get me? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm thinking it's going to be Call of Duty Ghosts 2, but it's still up in the air. We won't know. The clock is ticking. The date and time briefly come up on the screen as May 30th at 10 a.m. That is tomorrow.
Wow.
As we speak, literally less than 12 hours from right this point as we are broadcasting.
Wow.
So I'm excited for the new Call of Duty. I'm always excited. This will be the 16th copy of Call of Duty that I own in my repertoire of video games. So I'm very excited to have this. And maybe by the time, I don't know, maybe we can play some Call of Duty when you're in Austin. I can kick your butt in Blackout.
Dude, you absolutely will, because I haven't played in forever. But I will say, I really like this because it feels to me like a total reboot of everything, because the last 4 or 5 games have been met with very mixed response.
Well, Black Ops 4 was the best that they've had.
Was it?
It is the one that actually sold the most over the time. And But here, look at this. Everything on Call of Duty's Instagram is wiped. It's just one post and one image. Can you see that?
Like that?
Unless they're coming up with a whole new series has something to do with whiteout or something like that. Ghost makes totally sense.
When I think fans just want it to get back to basics. Like, what did people love about the franchise in the first place before it got so saturated with just
down all the bull and get down to shooting people?
And Fortnite came out, and it really kind of forced their hand. Okay, we can't do what Fortnite is trying to do to revolutionize everything. Let's just go back to basics. And I think that's the route they're going. So I really like that, and I respect the fact that they did that to their Instagram page, because that's huge, man. That's a big deal.
It's a big leap.
Yeah,
can I just give some chat love right now? Sean, you are like dropping all the extra headlines tonight. Dark Crystal prequel series set to be released on Netflix August 30th. And Masters of the Universe is set to be released on March 5th, 2021.
Yes,
so he's totally dropping the nerd nuggets over there in the side.
I'm really excited for the Dark Crystal series on Netflix. And they actually went back to their roots and consulted Jim Henson Studios for the puppetry.
Yes.
So if you know how the puppets looked back in the 80s, can you imagine how dynamic? It's going to be beautiful.
The movements are going to be
so
fluid.
Are going to be so crazy. So I'm really excited to see that. And they brought back some of the villains too, like the big vulture-looking guys that's going around.
Ooh, scary.
That's going to be cool, man.
And the cast is insane, man. It's literally you got Mark Hamill, Taron Egerton. You've got, it's just one after another for like 20 people. So I think it's going to be awesome. And in terms of Masters of the Universe, they cast the Netflix heartthrob Noah Centineo as He-Man. It's an interesting casting choice, but once again, I'm going to give him a chance because I think the guy has talent. He's the heartthrob. It's kind of the Robert Pattinson casting in its own weird way, even though this kid has not had near the experience Robert Pattinson has had. But I think it'll be interesting.
Well, I think he's going to have to get on the juice now.
Lord, this kid is not.
He's a Zachary Levi. They're going to have to do something with this boy. Because
he's going to have to get a lot bigger.
Yeah, he's going to have to get up there to Arnold Schwarzenegger level from 1980 to be able to be like this.
And he's skin. He's not just like, he's average. He's skin and bone. So he's going to have to.
By the power of Grayskull.
Like, you can't.
CGI can't fix that much.
But steroids can. Come on.
Roids. Those roids, though. That
Get on those.
All right,
Do you even lift, bro?
Do you lift, bro?
I'm done with you, Liz. That is funny.
That's
all right,
great.
Awesome. What we got next?
Oh my gosh, we still have more game news to cover. Guys, Konami has revealed a complete lineup for the upcoming Contra Anniversary Collection.
Okay.
This collection includes a varied Contra titles from the original arcade game to Contra 3, the Alien Wars for SNES. While specific release date has not been announced yet, this digital collection will be available on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, the Switch from Nintendo, and PC via Steam this summer for $20.
$20.
$20. Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Full Contra Anniversary Collection lineup includes Contra, the arcade, Contra NES, Contra Famicom, Super Contra Arcade, Super C NES, Contra 3, Alien Wars, Super Probatractor, Alien Rebels, SNES, Contra Hardcore, Sega Genesis, Pro Bucker Tractor. Golly, I keep tripping over that one. The Sega Mega Drive version, Operation C Game Boy. And while 4 of these titles have already been announced for Contra Anniversary Collection, the newly revealed editions give longtime fans a wide array of Contra experiences they may not have had the chance to play in the past, including regional variants. Well, guys, if you like Contra, you are so fixed up with this one.
And also, to Lindsay, to tag on to your headline there,
Yes.
Nintendo just released, and Konami also just released the Castlevania Anniversary Collection as well. And for $20, you can purchase, and you get 8 different Castlevania games across multiple consoles. And it's really cool, and it's available right now on the Switch for $20.
Very
You get Castlevania 1, 2, and 3, Simon's Quest, NES version.
I love Konami games.
I love it. It's old school.
It's a fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's old school.
Like the king of retro gaming.
Yeah. So, pretty cool stuff. Austin, you are leading us into the PS5, I believe, and there's not a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to kind of maybe we can have a conversation about it. This just came out last week, and so Sony has revealed some of the high-end specs for the new console, and it's going to be an 8K streaming console, and also it's going to be backwards compatible, which means. If you own those old PS1 discs with Resident Evil on it, you're going to be able to play that game on this console. So,
this is one reason why I appreciate Sony.
Yeah.
Is because with every system they've released, they have allowed at least some level of backwards compatibility with their systems, which just makes your customers even more loyal to you when you release new systems.
Yeah.
And they make it, I mean, it's worth the investment. It adds value to your product when you do it to them.
I agree. And I think now don't get your hopes up. PlayStation 5 is not releasing this year. It is slated for, I think, holiday season 2020.
Yeah.
So
2020.
next Christmas we're going to be having the PS5 in our houses. And this thing is there's a video online on YouTube.
Pushed back for some reason. Sometimes they push them back, so it may be like a spring thing if they.
It could be, but I mean, we don't know anything yet. But here's what we do know: last week in a live stream on YouTube, Sony was doing a comparison test of the PS4 Pro, which is their highest end model of the PlayStation, and the PS5, and they were using Spider-Man's cinematic cityscapes, and they were trying to roll through it as quick as they could. And in that, they actually found, it was kind of like the whole audience was like, what? They were going through it so fast into the city and around that it was able to process and keep up multiple fractions of data across. I mean, it was just insane. And it's going to be a hybrid AMD chip with a 7-core multi-dual layer processor, if I said that right. But it's going to be using AMD technology, but it's going to be a hybrid that Sony is going to be marketing and patenting for themselves with AMD. It's going to be a crazy one.
Very nice. Gabe over in the chat says that in the Southwest region they refer to it as the PlayStation 5.
Wow. If you're in German, it's PlayStation 5.
Well,
F-U-N-F. 5. Sie 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So,
bless you.
You're welcome. Thank you. I have no idea what's going on right now.
There's a reason why we hang out too much together. I don't know.
Well, we've reached the halfway point, guys. You ready to talk about some movies?
Congratulations, everyone. We've made it this far.
Congratulations. We've made it to 9:30.
9:30 on the door.
And I do believe we're going to go ahead and roll that spoiler alert warning just because we're going to be talking about John Wick, BrightBurn, and all of that stuff. And so we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. PopX is coming to you.
Danger. You are about to enter a PopX spoiler alert. Beyond this point, there is no return. You have been warned.
All right, you have been warned, so let's talk about the first one up on the table right now. And we were just talking about it, and it's Robert Pattinson being cast as the lead role for Bruce Wayne, a.k.a. Batman, in an upcoming reboot that's scheduled for next year. Is this next year or 2021, Austin? next year?
2021, I believe.
Okay. And rumors are coming around that Warner Brothers' plan for this is not just a one-off film, but an entire complete saga of films over a span of time. Wow, wonder where they got that idea. Hold on a minute. Let me see. Let me think here. Just saying.
Little twinkle, little bat.
Hey,
how I wonder what
where
you're
you
at.
at?
Watch it.
So where do you think this is going to go, Austin? Do you think now? Me and you have talked previously here on PopX that we are both in agreement that Robert Pattinson is going to be a good call for this role. And when the news came out officially, I was like, everybody, you always get... It reminded me so much of Heath Ledger. When Heath Ledger was cast as Joker, everybody's like, oh my God, this is going to be a horrible decision. And then we all went in that theater, and he popped that guy's head down on the pencil. And I was like, holy cow, that's awesome. So, what do you think about Pattinson, Austin?
Dude, listen, we had a show a few shows back where we were giving picks for Batman, and Robert Pattinson was, other than Richard Madden, Robert Pattinson was my pick because I think he's the best, one of the best decisions for the role. Listen, I know he's got the Twilight stank on him. Heath Ledger, a lot of people looked at Heath Ledger and said, well, that's the guy from Brokeback Mountain.
Yep, still is.
And then he did what he did in freaking Dark Knight, and he blew everybody away. And he's the best supervillain of all time. So it's like, Robert Pattinson, man, I just watched Good Time with Madison, which is I believe his best role the other night. The man is phenomenal. He's straight up a fantastic actor. And you can even ask him. He's been in interviews. He hates the Twilight movies. Like,
really?
I was watching a compilation on YouTube, and they were asking him, you think he'd ever come back if they brought the crew back together? And he goes, he just started laughing. He just starts laughing. He hates those movies. He's not allowed to say he hates them, but you can tell he hates them. Because even though they almost ruined his career, they did shoot him into stardom. And because of that, he got the opportunity to work with really good directors. And the fact that he got cast in Christopher Nolan's new movie, which just got a name, Tenet, and it sounds awesome. Some people are speculating it's a sequel to Inception. So that's got me excited.
What?
Yes. They're saying Inception, Interstellar, and Tenet are all in the same universe, and they're saying this is the third movie in what will be a trilogy. That's the speculation.
Inception and Interstellar is in the same...
That's what they're saying.
You just blew my lid, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
I'm like so excited right now. For
I know. There's a little bit of urine just came out. I got to go change. I'll be right back.
I mean...
Wow. Well, guess who your lead in that movie is, though? It's Robert Pattinson, man. I mean, he's got that movie next year, and then he's got Batman the year after that. Wow. If it does turn out to be that he's 100% confirmed, man, I'm so excited. All I need to feel a little bit better is for Robert Pattinson to get a bit more jacked. But Ben Affleck was not in very good shape, right? He was big, but he wasn't fit. They put the suit on him that made him look fit. So I think the style that they're going for, I think Robert Pattinson is going to suit it very well. And Lost City of Z, Good Time. There's one more that's fantastic. I mean, all three of those roles, and every role he's been different. And yes, I do hate the Twilight movies. They're horrible. But the fact that he can shake that off and become Batman is a testament to his... Wasn't
Affleck supposed to be portrayed as more of an older Bruce Wayne anyways? So that's kind of why they weren't focused as much as being super jacked.
He was.
Like on the edge of retirement is kind of where they put Batfleck at.
He was. I do think some of it had to do with the fact that Ben Affleck just didn't want to do that. He's like, because he's such a big star at this point.
No cares about that role, really.
I think, too, if you recall just a couple of months ago after the release of Justice League, when that came out, Ben Affleck went into rehab because of alcoholism.
Yeah, he was struggling.
And you can just tell that something wasn't right there. And here's what I'm excited for, getting away from Batfleck for a minute. I think that with Robert Pattinson, I think with the right training and stuff like that, I think that Robert's got a lot of potential. He's young, and I think from what I've heard too, from Warner Brothers leaks, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, they release these little teasers every once in a while. They're looking at the detective approach of Batman, something that's never been explored as much. Because we got a little bit of that in Tim Burton's Batman with Michael Keaton about, him in the Batcave trying to decipher and looking over the video reels and mixing up the chemicals.
Yes.
But they're going back to the traditional roots of detective comics. And I think that is going to be a really good take on The Dark Knight that we've not seen before. The guy who can investigate any scene and scenario, the ultimate forensic expert.
You're absolutely right. And that's Matt Reeves came out, who is the director. He came out and said, yeah, that's the route we're going. So I'm so pumped about that. This is the guy that brought us Dawn and War for the Planet of the Apes. And I think that's one of the best trilogies of all time. And if you take a look at like the cinematography in that movie and just the look and the style, that to me is Batman, man. It's gorgeous, it's dark, it's gritty, freaks you out in its own special way, and I really think that's going to work so well for Batman, man. I'm so excited.
Do you think we're recapping origin story yet again for the 500th time in this one?
So. It doesn't have to be. I don't think it has to be done. I think they're going to just dive right into the movie plot, and it's going to just take hold, and we're going to be on for a hell of a ride.
Now, I know I kid about Sparklebat and Twinkle Twinkle and all that stuff, but I don't think it's a horrible choice.
Sparklebat?
I mean, he's definitely a very, he fits.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the memo on Sparklebutt.
Sparklebat. Sparklebat. There was no butts.
Okay.
Twinkle, twinkle, little
got a little
bats.
excited there for a second. I was like, hey.
But I think I'll, I would be more willing to give that character to him than I would be Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And I still am not a fan of Ben Affleck.
To anybody out there, here, let me just put this in perspective for you guys out there about Robert Pattinson. If you have any questions or doubts about his ability to get into this character, let me remind you of another actor who was stereotyped as one specific role, and then when he broke out and did his own thing, he came back and he actually blew us all away, and that's John Krasinski. Do you remember John Krasinski from The Office?
Yes.
Okay. So John Krasinski.
And that was such a molded role for him.
Jim and Pam, we saw that play out all the time.
You're talking about Jack Ryan, aren't you?
I am talking about Jack Ryan, and I'm also talking about 13 Hours. So if you think about John Krasinski, when he was in that role, John Krasinski was, everybody knew he was the geek, the nerd in The Office.
The nerd, the comedian, the class
So The
clown
Office ended. When The Office ended, we're talking about John Krasinski, how he was branded also as one particular role, and then he came out and he stared doing all these crazy action films, and now
he's going to be Mr. Fantastic.
I hope so.
I'm okay with that.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
But if anybody's got any doubt about Pattinson being the role of Bat, I'm reminded of John Krasinski being the nerd, but now being the Beast on screen.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, let's even go all the way back to Michael Keaton.
Oh,
Michael Keaton was known as a comedian. He was the short guy that couldn't get in shape. He was too funny. Why is he getting cast as Batman? Beetlejuice? That's our Batman? Dude, come on, man. He was great as Batman. So it's that stigma, man. When you're known for something that maybe people, and not that people didn't love Michael Keaton, they just didn't think he could shift genres like that, right? Robert Pattinson, he's known for this thing. He went undercover for a few years. He said, I'm not going to do another big franchise until I establish myself as a good actor. And I think he's done that. And the big role that he takes, it's the biggest. It's Batman. So I love that.
And I think, as we're wrapping up this segment of the discussion with the Batman 2021, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out, a lot of rumors, a lot of leaks, a lot of this, a lot of that. And you know what? It's just going to do one thing for Warner Brothers, and that's generate hype. Because everybody's going to go see the film for themselves to make their own assumption. And I think people are going to be genuinely blown away.
I agree. 100%.
Just please don't make it a turd. That's all I ask.
I don't think it's going to be. I think
entertaining.
I think that Warner Brothers has learned from their mistakes. So
I hope so.
All right, so moving on to the second movie of the night. Lindsay, unfortunately, you didn't see these next two, so
I did not.
We're gonna
I have seen the first one. So
we're going to rely on your
John
colorful
Wick.
commentary, though.
I will do my best.
We're going to be talking about John Wick 3 next. And this is a fantastic film. Now, hold your heart. Don't freak out. I hadn't seen John Wick 3 1 week until any of the John Wick series until 1 week before the 3 came out.
Oh, really?
Wow.
So I was literally on the end of the train on that one. Yeah, but it was all fresh in my mind, which was
yeah, that's
great.
awesome, man. I wish I could have done that.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah,
but I had never seen the first John Wick film, and let me tell you something. I'm glad I did what I did because I watched them consecutively. Lindsay can tell you after night I want to go watch John Wick 2, and she's like, okay, goodbye. And we were talking here on Get Vocal one night, and it was just great. And John Wick 3, out of all of them, my God, is the best film I have.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Keanu Reeves, is he like 51, 49, 51?
Yeah, he's right. He's almost right at 50. Yeah.
And he's doing this at that age?
Yep. Dude, he barely even has a stunt double in the movie.
That's what I was getting ready to say because he was just on.
Keanu Reeves is 54 years old.
He's almost 60.
September 2nd, 1964 is his birthday.
No way. That's crazy.
To see what he does on the screen versus his age, that is mind-blowing.
You know he's got to take 2 Advil every day before he functions, right?
Well, I think he is he's a master of Taekwondo and several martial arts. So he has his body and his center. He knows exactly where he's at and what he's doing. And just the fact that he's doing 80% of his own stunts in all of these films, mind-blowing. And now there's talk of a Matrix 4 coming out where they're going to be rehashing that again. And he said he's all on board. He loved the Matrix series. Yeah. And so I think that John Wick 3, not only did the storyline continue from 1 and 2, but my God, it blew it into a whole new realm that I did not expect going into. We had this whole thing where he had 80 minutes to get out of the city. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a reason why we rolled that spoiler alert warning. He was basically excommunicated from, what is it, the table? Is that what they call it?
The high table.
The high table, yes. So he was excommunicated from that, and at the end of John Wick 2, they were telling him you've got 80 minutes to get out of the city.
Yes,
and
I remember.
Everybody started, the phone started ringing. They started watching him going down the street.
Started coming after him.
And that's immediately right where John Wick 3 picks up. He is literally, he is reconning through New York, trying to get out of the city, and everybody's out to kill him. And that's where just literally the movie starts. Within the first minute, there's chaos going all over the place.
Urban warfare.
It was insane. Yeah. And then it was just a fantastic film all the way through. And I thought the storyline and the continuity and the characters that were introduced, Halle Berry's character.
Oh, she's great.
Halle Berry, I hadn't seen her in a while in a role like this. I think the last time I saw her was like in a Mission Impossible, was it? Something like that.
She was in Bond.
Bond. Maybe it was Bond.
Yeah, she did Bond. She's 52 as well.
Well, she does not look 52. More like a 36er. She's a 36er all the way.
Yes.
But it was just really great. And, the cinematography, the action, and the fact that he's riding a horse down the bridge. Was it the Brooklyn Bridge with samurais? Yes. What? What? Dude, I was on the edge. I was like this the whole time on the movie. I was like,
yeah, me too. The whole time.
Oh, my God, dude. I was literally gripping the seat. And if you're into those kind of action movies with nonstop, just when you think the battle is going to end, it just keeps on going.
Does.
And it was just amazing for me. But one of the things I really, truly did love about it, and Austin, I want to hear your thoughts on it, then we'll roll in with our own review. But I loved how it immediately segued into a potential 4th chapter.
Yeah.
Right at the end. And so we know, and Keanu Reeves already signed on, I think 2021, John Wick 4 is coming out, and it's going to literally pick right up where, and it's going to be crazy, dude. And he doesn't have a finger now, so his finger's going.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Dang. Yeah, he chopped it off at the high hand table.
Dang.
So, Austin, before I give my review, I want to hear what you thought about John Wick 3.
Yeah, man, I echo off of most of the things that you said. What I love about these movies, this series as a whole, is instead of this super close-up shaky cam action and not being able to tell what's going on the entire time, you get a lot of wide shots. Mm-hmm. And the director of this movie and the co-director of the first, he also directed the second and third by himself, he is his former stuntman. He's Keanu Reeves' former stuntman. right? So he has a stunt. Yeah. So his first movie was John Wick.
Wow.
And he's now they're saying he's going to direct the Highlander reboot because he's such
wait, whoa. They're rebooting Highlander?
Rebooting Highlander with the director of John Wick.
What?
Yeah,
That's
man.
awesome.
Yeah. So as soon as he has some free time, he'll be doing that. But man, he's got the eye of a director. He knows how to do certain things with actors who maybe aren't the best at. Listen, Keanu Reeves, I freaking love the guy.
Yeah.
Doesn't deliver dialogue the best, but he's so good as this character, you don't care. When he goes, yeah, you don't care. You giggle deep down because you're like, that wasn't very good. But it's Keanu Reeves and he's John Wick, so you don't really care. And I love that he has that stunt background to bring us this incredible action, and you can see it. He films it in a way.
Limits
exactly.
Double, so you can challenge your other fellow stunt double peoples. I totally respect that and appreciate that from him.
He knows the ins and outs of everything, and it's not Taken 3 where it's cut just for one jump. Like you get wides, you get long shots. It's such a beautiful looking movie. And then seriously, dude, that movie sucks. But you have, and I like Taken 1. But you have a story that continues from 1 and 2 into 3, and it expands. You could tell the budget got bigger as well. And by the way, this movie at the box office, it crushed. It absolutely crushed because the first one barely made any money opening weekend. The second one made about 30 mil opening weekend. This one, 57 million opening weekend. That is an exponential increase. It's nothing like we've ever seen in an action franchise, and it's because people have grown, have learned, and like Joe went back and watched the other 2 movies this week. I'm sure there were millions of people doing that. Hey, what are these low-budget action films? Oh my God, I have to see the third one in the theater. And this was such a communal experience. Everyone in my theater freaking out, screaming.
Same.
There was a group of guys. They're like, "Don't go in there! Don't do that!" And then when he's fighting them with the books, man, dude, the book fight in the library.
There's a book fight. Okay.
There's a book fight. There's necks being breaking, jaws being exposed.
He kills somebody with a pencil in the second one. He kills somebody with a book in the third one. He's gonna kill somebody with a notepad in the next one. Like it is just nonstop, like creative. How do you think of that? How do you think of John Wick on a horse fighting samurais?
Next time, and let him have a free for all.
You have to go to Staples. Did you all know? And I had to look this up. So, Joe, you know the villain, right?
Yes.
The main villain at the end that he fights, did he seem familiar to you? Do you know who that is?
He seemed very familiar. Like the bald-headed samurai?
Bald-headed samurai, yeah. Have you ever watched Iron Chef?
Yes.
You know the guy that reveals the ingredients? Onions! That's the guy.
No way.
Iron Chef. That's what I said. He's the villain in John
random.
Wick.
Wait, is he an actual kung fu? He must be. He must be.
He knows kung fu. Yeah, dude. I'm like, okay, I recognize that guy. I'm gonna go on IMDb. I looked him up. I start seeing Iron Chef, Iron Chef this, Iron Chef that. I'm like,
what?
Is this the ingredients guy? So I go and I watch his compilation. It's the guy, dude. All I did was shave his head. I was so excited. Onions. Like, I love that.
Garlic.
Well, I love this series too because, like, the first one had the Allstate commercial guy, like as one of the sidekicks. This one has the chef from the guy from Iron Chef. Like, it's the people that they bring in, and then bring in Halle Berry, and you've got the.
Well, don't forget. In was it John Wick 2? They brought in the guy from Call of Duty, the neutralizer from Call of Duty. Dude, and he was just.
Oh my God!
He was like. I was like, okay, there he is. Cool.
Well, that's the thing about this series.
Hello,
and I think,
my friends.
I think every movie has had a character from Game of Thrones, an actor from Game of Thrones. Because the first one had Theon. This one has the sidekick to Cersei. Like, every movie, they know what's going to attract people and what's going to make people stick around through this franchise. And the fact that the action's so good, I could go on all day. I need to stop. But
no.
Joe, if you can't tell, man, I freaking love this movie. One of my favorite movies of the year.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and review this one. I'm going to go with an 8.9 for John Wick 3.
Dude, I'm right behind you, man. I'm going 8.8. I thought it was incredible. I loved it. Just a great all-around movie, man.
And
my takeaway is, if you want to be successful in life, learn Kung Fu.
Or be Keanu Reeves. Because I hear he's the nicest man in Hollywood.
Me too.
He's the nicest man in Hollywood, Keanu Reeves.
Love him.
Yes.
Love him so much.
And Kung Fu.
All right, so we got 10 minutes. Let's talk about BrightBurn. This is the Guns Brothers' first introduction into a horror superhero verse, if you will, where they are taking motifs from DC Comics and creating a multiverse that is very evil and very demonic and very tormented and demented. And so I got to see this with Mike. Mike can't be here tonight because he's got to get up early and work in the morning. He works at Delta. No. But I saw this with Mike and Alex up in Atlanta. We got to go and experience this in Atlanta, Georgia together. And, you know, it's one of those movies that there's a lot of suspense building up, and it's just like you could tell that there's something going. And I'm kind of glad that they stayed within the family and the farm, the community and the town, and they kept they didn't expand beyond those horizons, and that kind of kept those players and characters very familiar in the storyline. And it was pretty crazy for me because, you know, knowing Kal-El's origins and Superman, much like, you know, a mother wanting to have a child and the Breyer family, they're wanting to have a kid and they can't have a kid. They're having some issues with that, and then all of a sudden one night, you know, she's at her wits' end, and this thing crashes in the forest behind their house. It's a spaceship with an infant inside of it. We don't know where it came from. Does that sound kind of familiar?
Sounds familiar to me, man.
Yeah.
All right, so, you know, instead of Kent, the family is Breyer. Breyer ice cream, and it is in Kansas, Breyer, Kansas. No, what is it? BrightBurn, Kansas.
BrightBurn, yeah,
BrightBurn, Kansas. And so it was really interesting as he grows up, you know, and he's starting to understand this. And there's this one scene when he's trying to figure out his abilities, and he goes and he's starting to mow the grass, and he's kind of furious, and he just slings the lawnmower over into a field, and it's still running, and he just goes over and puts his hand right into the spinning blade, and the whole thing just blows up and stops dead, and his hand's completely untamed. And I'm like, holy cow, it's just a crazy, there's so many. I'm surprised that Sony wasn't sued by Warner Brothers.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because of just so many
much
copy. No, it's like openly blatant Superman copying.
100%.
I mean, from the laser eyes to the strength breaking the little girl's hand and the class. Yeah. It was definitely like, I'm like, holy cow, how are they doing this? You know, but at the same time, it's really interesting seeing. Was it what's James Gunn's brother? Was it James?
I can't.
It's the Gunn's brothers. They're in this together. And it's got James Gunn's picture stamp all over it because you could just tell it's a feel. It feels like James Gunn. Mm-hmm. And but for me, the cinematography was really awesome because it kind of like with the low-lying fields, you get the corn kind of whistling, and it kind of looked like Man of Steel a little bit.
It did.
You remember the Man of Steel trailer when the camera pans down on the cornfields and it says Kent on the mailbox? We get the same pan, but it says Breyer. I'm like, whoa.
My gosh, that is just too much.
Yeah, it's definitely carbon copy. But for me, I really enjoyed it. Now, there were some issues with it. I mean, it's not the best story, but this story worked for me, whereas Hellboy did not. This story worked for me. Yes. It had a great opener, had some good middle action, and a decent finale. We got some answers there. Yes. And I was like, okay, start to finish, pretty good. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. You know, it's not up in the 90% range, but I enjoyed it. Austin, what's your thoughts on this?
I'm with you, man. I like the movie. I didn't love it. I honestly wanted a bit more from it, but the best thing, and I know we text each other about this, the best thing about this movie is James Gunn's stamp. And that's kind of my thoughts going into the new Suicide Squad too, is like, even if the studio tries to botch it, at least it'll be slightly redeemed by James Gunn because... And once again, he didn't. And my issues with this movie come within the directing, and James Gunn didn't direct it. He's just like this executive producer. Right. So if James Gunn would have had the time, he doesn't have the time, but if he would have had the time to direct this, I think it would have been much better. But I do like the look of the entire movie. Like Joe said, it did feel like a Man of Steel ripoff in its own kind of funny way. Not that the movie's funny, but the fact that they're ripping it off that point blank to me is like, okay, I kind of like that. A middle finger to Warner Brothers. But then again, you have a story that I think could have been explored a bit more. Like, to me, this story was kind of surface level because you get exactly what you expect, which for me worked, right?
Yeah.
But you never get any deeper. It throws you in. You get the Superman retelling in its own way, and then it goes bad in the end.
The trailer kind of spoiled a lot for me.
Dude, the trailer spoiled the whole movie. Yeah. There are key moments in that film.
Yeah, there's key moments in the trailer that are in the finale of the film.
Yeah, they had the lawnmower thing like Joe was talking about was in that because I saw that, and
one of the most tension-filled scenes in the entire movie is when he's going after the old woman in the diner, and that entire scene's in the trailer. And for me, that kind of took me out. Like, I feel like I would have gotten more out of it if I would not have seen that prior to going in. Correct. I still think that was handled well. Like, all of the shots were handled well, and I think the acting was good. Elizabeth Banks in this movie as the mom, she's really good.
She was.
Her display of emotion is awesome, and I even thought the little boy was good. Fun fact, that's the little boy that
Scott
played young. Did you see that too?
I saw that. He played young Ant-Man in the time machine.
I watched Avengers Endgame the day before I watched this, so I was like, did I just see this kid? No, I didn't just see this kid. And I looked at him like, oh, that was the kid, the kid.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, that was cool. But he was good, and my big issue was I didn't think the directing was great. I thought the editing was a little weird. The scene transitions, they seemed a bit quick. I think this movie was kind of squeezed together when it should have had more breathing room. I think the script called for it to be a little bit longer when they kind of squeezed it together. But I get why they did it. And the movie, you look at the numbers and you wouldn't think it did well, but for the barely anything, a chicken nugget and a drawstring budget, then I think
chicken nugget and a drawstring. I may have to remember that one, Austin.
I'm gonna write that one down.
I don't know why I thought of that. I'm really hungry.
Chicken nugget and a drawstring.
I think the fact that they did that on that budget and did make a decent chunk of change. Oh, and Joe, did you hear this?
Hold on, I'm on and a drawstring. Okay, go ahead. Okay, I got you.
I think we're actually going to get a BrightBurn universe because now they're saying.
Well, I was getting ready to hit on that.
Are you going to get to that? Yeah, go ahead, dude. Hit on that.
I was just going to say because right at the end, we get Yondu himself, Michael Rooker. Yes. He comes on right before the credits, and he's like this YouTuber, and he's talking about things in the paranormal world. And here's what he says, and if you got to listen to what he says, there's a witch out there with a rope killing people. All right, so
there you go.
Who is that? Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy under the sea that's killing people. Who's that?
Aquaman.
Isn't that cool?
So they are setting up their own horror verse in the Sony franchise.
That's cool.
And, Austin, I understand what you were saying about, there's a lot of stuff there that they could have expanded on. They could have made it a full 2-hour film, whatever, And I understand that. But honestly, I think they played it safe because a movie like this is just like you don't really know how it's going to go or how it's going to be received.
Yes.
And it was kind of like exceeded their expectations because they didn't think a lot of the fanboys from DC or Marvel would come and watch the film, but they did.
And they did, and it was well received. Audiences gave it great scores.
Yeah, I think I'm not going back to Hellboy, but if Hellboy would have at least had some kind of continuity to it as what BrightBurn has, it would have been so much better. Dude. Harbor should have got a lot more justice from that script.
Not fair to him.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him because he is a great Hellboy.
I do too.
But I really loved BrightBurn because of the acting, like you said. I just the boy and everything was just phenomenal. My favorite scene is when his father tried to take him out into the woods. Spoiler alert. Yeah. Father took him out in the woods, and his father knew what he was capable of, and he had a rifle. And tried to shoot him in the back of the head. And him being with Superman, it just kind of dinged off the back of his head, and he turned around. He knew his father was trying to kill him. He just grabbed him by the skull and used his laser eyes and blasted through his brain. And every bit of that was on screen. Yeah, it's a heavy, hard R.
Oh my!
It's a very hard R.
James Gunn, like what he did with Super, if you guys have ever seen Super, that movie is so filled with violence and gore. I'm like, they're not going to bring that to BrightBurn. Oh, you bet they brought it to BrightBurn.
They brought it to BrightBurn.
When that guy's jaw there are
the guy's jaw.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah.
Violent moments.
Wasn't that the guy from Breaking Bad?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
And it took me a bit to recognize him, but I'm like, yep.
I can understand that raspy voice is.
Yes.
Wasn't it like Roach or something? What was his name? I can't remember. It's killing me. Anyway.
Remember now.
But all right, so
yeah, man, the catch was good. It was really good.
Yeah, it was. So I'm gonna review. I want to hear your review too. I'm gonna give BrightBurn a 6.8.
Okay, awesome. I'm going positive as well, man. 6.2, I believe, is what I gave it.
6.2.
Yeah, man, I liked it. I thought it was good. You know, I've given a lot of. I feel like 2019 has given us a lot of good movies, not great movies, a lot of 6s and 7s out of 10s, with the occasional John Wick and Avengers Endgame, of course. But, man, it's another movie that, for me, I can look at and say, if I get more movies out of this franchise, I'm going to go in, as long as James Gunn is behind the helm of all of them, I'm going to go in and expect a good movie. And I think that's what we got here. We got a solid movie with a solid starting point for a potential new franchise. So I think that's really good.
I think, you know what, and we're wrapping up the conversation here. We had some really great conversation tonight about BrightBurn, John Wick 3, and of course, Robert Pattinson assuming the role as the Batman. We want to hear what your predictions are. If you guys want to leave a comment or let us know on our YouTube or Facebook feeds, what do you think is going to happen of all this? We want to hear what your rumors are, what your theories could be. What do you think is going to happen with the new Detective Batman? Do you think that the BrightBurn series is going to spawn a new horror franchise for Sony? And what do you think about John Wick 4? Where do you think that's going to go with the high table? So it's going to be really interesting to see where all this goes. And Austin, another great episode in the books, bro. 95, bro.
Yeah, I mean, this was an episode that covered all corners of the world. We had John Wick, BrightBurn, Batman, but I think it went super well. You guys can find me on the Twits at the Burkinator and on YouTube, of course. And I'm competing in a special event next weekend, underwater basket weaving. They have their own Olympics. You guys can check that out on the AssociatedPressStylebook.com. I am Austin Burke. You guys can find me on YouTube, like I said, and we are part of an amazing network called the Gonna Geek Network for all things.
I'm basket weaving. Don't know.
Are you?
Yeah.
Underwater
basket weaving.
Practicing.
For all things even more geeky, head over to GonnaGeek.com and check out some amazing podcasts on our home network. Connect with us on social media. You guys can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and Pinterest, all at PopXcast. Send some comments and suggestions to us via email at popxcast@gmail.com. Also, for future and past shows, visit our official website at www.popxcast.com.
All right.
Well, while Austin catches his breath over there, I am Lindsay Badger, and you can find me at LR Badger on all the social places amongst the interwebs.
What
is happening?
I don't know. I think he's trying to be Pennywise for a minute. I don't know what's going on over there.
What's happening?
You want a balloon, little kid?
Balloon?
Austin, I got a question before I do my wrap up spiel. Is your thing going to be streamed live so we can watch this competition as it unfolds?
Dude, we got them underwater cams, and I'm gonna be upside down, and I'm gonna be like, just the old.
Wow, I think Jason Momoa would probably be proud of you right about now.
I think I've been drugged. That's what I think.
All right, guys, I am Joseph Burke, a.k.a. Joseph Burke Arts, all over the internet. Of course, hats off to my amazing team, PopX. Guys, I could not do this without you. Lindsay Badger, Austin Burke, and Mike Ippolito up in Atlanta. He couldn't be here tonight, but he will be back next week. We're going to be back for a really cool show. And that's it for this episode. But, hey, join us now on episode 96 as we're going to be talking about X-Men Dark Phoenix and the end of a 20-year saga franchise for the Fox network as the characters officially transition over in the hands of Disney. Now, I will say this before we end the show. There was a really cool trailer that was released today by Fox, which showed the yearbook of X-Men. And in that, if you go to Rogue, when it goes to Rogue, it says her favorite movie. The official branding has happened with Disney. favorite movie, Captain Marvel for Rogue.
Wow.
Oh, look
So
at that.
nice little subtle nod there to the MCU. All right, so from all of us here, thanks for listening, thanks for downloading, and we will see you next time right here on PopXcast. So yeah, get your geek on and do all that wonderful stuff that you do, and yeah, just you know what I'm saying. All right, goodbye, Joe.
Later, Tater.
All right, bye guys. Have a good one.
From everyone at PopXcast, thanks for listening. Please make sure to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/PopXcast, and click the follow button to get our live stream notifications. Drop us an email, popxcast@gmail.com. Be sure to check out this and more great content on the Gonna Geek Network at GonnaGeek.com. Get your geek on!